So, in the beginning, there was darkness. Ooh, look at how well I draw darkness. And in that darkness, there were things. You know, kind of like darkness blobs, cells of darkness, whatever you want to fucking call it. And they're out there swimming in the darkness, having a grand old time, living life, living their version of life, I guess. And they don't really have any thoughts or feelings. It's mostly just survival because they're trying to eat each other all the time. Like, oh, this darkness is trying to eat this darkness. Oh, well, now that first darkness is bigger. Whoa. Well, there is one darkness monster, void monster, that is bigger than all of the rest. And from this point on, we will refer to this darkness monster as the Angel of Death. Woo. So all these void monsters, including the Angel of Death, all just kind of lived their existence out in the darkness, eating each other, fighting each other, that kind of nonsense. And they did this for who knows how long. It could have been an hour, could have been a day, a year, a decade, a million years. We don't know, because in the darkness there is no time. There's no concept of time, because everything is the same. So for who knows how long it was like this, and then suddenly, from out of the darkness, out of nowhere, sprang a beam of light. And suddenly, there was a concept of time. It was before the light and after the light. Now, as we all know from Kingdom Hearts, light and dark are opposites. And this beam of light essentially started killing the void monsters by simple fact that it existed. And light is existence. So that means that the darkness doesn't truly exist. These void monsters, who were timeless beings, were suddenly assaulted with the idea that they don't exist. And so if you don't exist, then you don't exist. You cease to exist. You fade away. And this is what was killing these void monsters. And so the void monsters tried to attack the light, but they were repelled and defeated every single time, because the light was just that powerful. So, it's time to talk about the light. Now, the light itself is not an entity. It is the place where the entities spring from. Picture it like this. The darkness is this big desert, and the light is a small little oasis. And from that oasis, things come to be, things sprout. Well, the first of these things to sprout is an entity named Gan. Now, you can think of Gan as a god. He is a being of immense power. So immense, in fact, that his being cannot be contained in a single world. Rather, he is made up of 3 worlds. The first world is the world of his spirit, the second, that of his body, and the third, that of the mind. We'll get more into these worlds later, but for now, just keep that in mind. When the light repels these void monsters, it itself is not doing anything. It's Gan fighting them off on the light's behalf. You can imagine either a big old god guy fighting shadow monsters, or you can think of 3 planets whose mere existence wards off the darkness from edging in. Either way is acceptable. Now, the light is like our own universe, in that it has a tendency to expand. And so, another entity by the name of Ram springs into existence. He too is like a god. And just like Gan, he is composed of 3 worlds. One for his spirit, one for his body, and one for his mind. And this, right here, is the map of the multiverse as it was intended to be. Just take a minute to soak it all in. Alright, soaked. Now, if you remember, there was this big old void monster out there in the darkness. The Angel of Death. Now, remember, these void monsters are drawn to the light, almost like a moth to flame, in order to devour it. Because it is destroying them by its mere existence. So, the Angel of Death is a-coming. Meanwhile, back in the light, Gan and Ram are having a grand old time, really. They're chilling, maxing, relaxing, waiting for another entity to pop up, 3 more worlds to pop up, living the dream. But before that can happen, the Angel of Death has arrived.